Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back for another Vlogmas video. So I don't normally start reviews so casually, but I've done a super in-depth review of the Lettuce Grow Farmstand on my blog. And I will say, whenever you're watching this video, double check the date. I always update the reviews on the blog every 6 months to a year, just so you guys have the most up-to-date information. If anything's changed, if my perspective has changed. And whenever I do a review, I try to give you guys the most positive, and my experience with this farm stand has been very challenging over the last few months. And I want to kind of preface that and to also, because of that, invite you to double check the blog post, because maybe we've gotten to a point where it's worked for me. I feel like the last 6 months have been a lot of me learning how this works for me and my life, and kind of what the best way for me to use it is. So if you don't know what the Lettuce Grow Farmstand is, it's essentially an indoor-outdoor garden that's very self-sustaining. So it has a reclaiming water option. It's hydroponic, so, and I'm not 100% sure what that word means, but essentially the way that it waters everything gets exactly what it needs. All of the water filters down to the bottom where the base is, that it holds everything, and then it kind of cycles back through. So it's supposed to be a very low-maintenance garden. Now, when I first got our garden, I started with it in a spot outside that I wasn't sure how it was going to work 100%, because I didn't know if I was going to get all of the lighting that I wanted. And at the time after I moved it the first time, we cut some trees, but I wasn't feeling like I was getting the light that I needed. And when you get your plants, you will have little like notes on the box. You'll also get all the information you need to scan it on the app, and you'll know exactly where to place your plant on the farm stand. So if it's shade tolerant, if it needs to be higher, if it needs to be lower, whatever, you will get that information. There is a very handy dandy app that tells you weekly what kind of nutrients you need to add. You also check the pH on your water. You can look and like snap photos of your plants if there's anything wrong with them. I will say the Lettuce Grow team in general has been pretty solid. I feel like, and I know I've reached out, I want to say at least every few weeks with some kind of problem, with some kind of something that I just needed an answer for or needed help for. And typically this has been the most intensive thing that I've reviewed so far. There have been a lot of things where I've been on the fence about it, but this one has been, it's been a little bit much. So we've had it for 6 months. We started with it outside. The first spot did not fully work. I moved it to a second spot, and then I live in Florida and it was raining a ton, and we kept getting these like tropical storm kind of situations. And so my thought was like, am I going to get the consistency that I want from this? Do I need to move it inside? Is it going to be an issue with all of this rain? And to be honest, because of where I live and the point we're at now, I might be moving this thing back outside, because I'm a little over some of the stuff. What happens when you have the farm stand for an extended amount of time? So like any plants that have longer roots, especially, I've kept herbs in it for several months, and of course they have quite long roots. We're going to show you in a second. If you don't trim them, you'll end up with like an overflow underneath. And when you're outside, this isn't a big thing. Like, you don't really notice that there's any issues, but with it inside, we had an issue where we were just having flooding, and there's like a plastic flap that kind of sits within the farm stand, and they want that as flat as possible. So if it's indoors, it can be a bit more of like an actual just house mess if you aren't consistently keeping an eye on it. We definitely had several days where we just could not figure out, at least for a week, why the water wasn't staying in it. We had a week where one of the timers, because we have 2 timers on it right now, there's one timer that works for the pump, there's one timer that works for the lights, and they are set with 2 different kind of intervals. With the lights, you have a certain amount of time on, and then it just turns off for the rest of the time. Whereas with the water pump timer, you have like 15-minute intervals every so many minutes, depending on the temperature and where you have it. And we had like a good week or so where we woke up and every morning all of the plants were dry, because the timer that was working for the pumps was completely off and we weren't getting the water that we needed. So the team was great after we went through the whole fixing of the stuff. There are a few things where they don't sell it online, and they should, and I don't know why it's not an easy option, but they do tell you that, and you'll see, I'm not following this rule right now. If you don't have plants and things, that you should put caps on the holes that you're using, because otherwise it'll cause like fungus and bacteria and kind of a mildew thing. You still do potentially need to use some kind of like anti-bug, anti-whatever kind of spray, depending on where you have it. I bought it for when we were outside because I noticed that some of the leaves on some of the things were starting to be chewed on by some critters, but I haven't had to use it since we've been inside. And you can't grow all of the same things you can grow inside, outside. There's quite a few things, especially seasonal stuff. So like zucchini, squash, eggplant, all of that you can't grow inside. I definitely grabbed some plants to see if I could test that for myself. And anything I've gotten that hasn't quite fully worked, I've moved outside. When I moved the farm stand from outside to inside, I eventually ended up moving over our tomato plants outside. I moved our green bean plants outside. I moved the peppers, the Xoxo, I don't know how to say that, peppers outside. And then I moved our eggplants. And those have continued producing. We're finally getting eggplant plants currently, but we've had a couple of different issues, and the team has been great at helping us fix it. But my expectation for this was that it would be a lot more low maintenance than it's been, and it hasn't been that. Now, that being said, we're at a point now where I mentioned in a Vlogmas video that may or may not go up after this or before, that I've kind of been just really having like a rejig with how I'm supporting myself and my diet and with what I'm eating. And one of those things for me is I haven't wanted to cook a ton this year. Like, that doesn't necessarily inspire me all the time. I really am feeling more supported by ordering a meal service right now. That's just really what's honoring my energy and my intentions and helping me actually eat the things that I want to eat. So for the next few months, farm stand will probably just look like herbs and lettuce and maybe some other greens, because it just doesn't serve me or the limited amount of space that we have to do anything else. The other question that I got on Instagram was, is it actually like worth it, in the sense of, does it make an impact on your budget? How much do you actually have to be able to see a difference in it? And truthfully, if you are eating regularly from it, like you're wanting to consistently eat from it, unless you're streamlining the things that work for you. So like, I think once we switch over to fully only having like herbs and lettuce and stuff like that, it'll work pretty well for us. Like, we'll see the benefits of it. The problem is, if you have however many slots, like say you go through 3 to 4 heads of lettuce in a week, like you eat a lot of salads, which we tend to do, you know, you only have so many spaces, and every time you fill those up and kind of replace them, along with it's not the fastest, not the slowest shipping to get your seedlings, you end up kind of just in a weird rhythm with it. Like, I don't think at all that it's replaced any kind of anything in our groceries other than basil. That's been major for me, because I feel like getting basil in the quantity that I want, it's a mess. Mint, I'm able to keep. Certain herbs I was able to keep, and there were a few that I've recently removed because I just realized I never used them. I was grateful to have them. They didn't serve me. It wasn't helpful. I got rid of them. So if you either buy enough or are streamlined enough, you can really use it to make an impact with your budget on your groceries. But as far as like, you know, really replacing it and not having to go to the store, I don't think, unless you're gonna eat very specifically, or again, you have like 2 farm stands, even like an indoor and outdoor one, because what you can grow, like being able to cover all the bases, you need both options. I think that's the only way that you're going to see like a significant impact with it, because otherwise you're dealing with the delays. Now, I will say the other part of that is not all of your seedlings arrive looking nice. I've had several arrive where they're so beat up that you can't use them, and they're great about replacing them. You can contact and get replacements for things, and it's really easy to do that, or they'll give you credit for stuff. But yeah, there's just too many delays, too many different things that really make that big impact for it. So personally for me, I've honestly seen the most benefits from having it with like lettuce and herbs, and then taking anything maybe that's a bit more, it's going to produce multiple things, or it's going to take time, and moving that crap outside. That's been a lot better for me than it has been leaving it in the stand. And maybe that's because we've had an issue, you know, we've had all of the issues that we've had where we couldn't keep water in it because of the things, you know, the timer issue. We had a ring light go out for like a week. Those issues probably impact it, but overall, I think it's worth the investment. I think it's just really, you have to know how it's going to work for you, and it's quite a learning curve. So I've talked a lot. Let me go show you the farm stand. Let me show you what it looks like, kind of the current setup for it for us. We're having a problem day, so I wanted this review to be as real and raw as possible, which is why we're vlogging it. And I also have not done, I've done some of my weekly maintenance, but I need to go in and trim things. So I'm going to show you what that looks like, because right now there are towels at the bottom of it because it is leaking, because the roots are too long. There are a few things that I don't think are going to last. I have a couple holes. Let's go look at the actual farm stand. Okay, welcome to our farm stand setup. This is in a room that has a lot of stuff. This is kind of the junk room. The Peloton lives in the junk room. The farm stand lives here. She once lived out there, but I bought the 4-tier to start. Now, I definitely think going up to 6 tiers would probably make a difference for us just in the way that we use stuff. And I wanted to do this review this week so you guys could see. These have only been in for, I think I got them earlier this week. So this is what everything looks like when it's quite small. There's not a lot happened. Like, they come a little bit smaller than this, and then from there you'll get essentially these guys down here. Now, I will say you do have to pull those sooner in the summertime because there can be issues. The other part is like just trimming and maintenance for stuff, because you can see I don't know if it's oregano or thyme. Some of these herbs get quite out of hand. Like my dill, she's a hot mess. My basil has come all the way the heck and bob out. So she needs to be shoved back in. So you have like maintenance issues with that. And then you can see that we've put currently some towels down here to catch stuff. So my job today is to kind of go through, and this is what like the empty cup looks like, and to check especially all of the herbs and see, like, this guy's kind of long on the roots. My chives will be okay. It might almost be time to get rid of them because I don't know that I use them enough. But there's a few that I just need to go in and cut and kind of deal with. So you can add 2 more layers to this, 2 more like additional pieces. Again, pardon the chaos room that we're currently in. You can add 2 more tiers to it. I did have the issue of one of the ring lights not working because the water got into the seal. So we had to disassemble it and kind of put that back together, but it's fairly easy. But overall, this is the vibe that you get. So we have the 2 timers set up. I would suggest if you're buying one, don't get, like, if you're having it inside, make sure you have the dolly. Like, you need the dolly. It's going to be something you're absolutely going to want. And then from there, you can just kind of fill it in. I definitely think we have a few plants that I don't know are in the best shape simply because they lived without a ring light, and it took me several days to realize that they didn't have a ring light. And a lot of them were they were on the bottom, so they were underneath things that were like kind of fully encompassing them, so they didn't get any extra light. This kale, she's real small. She's not the biggest that she could be. She's not the worst that she could be. And some of these strawberries I haven't seen produce. There are a few where they've been in here for a while and I don't actually know if they're going to do anything. And that's the part that kind of annoys / frustrates / makes me want to do things differently. Now this guy is technically, I don't know what this one is. I got some broccoli and or cauliflower. Welcome. We're just fully in the junk room now. Welcome, guys. I got some broccoli and or cauliflower for inside that is technically not an inside plant. So we'll see how that goes. But like you can see, the herbs all look great. The lettuce looks wonderful. Those are great essentials to have. A lot of the greens. I did try doing celery and I just never really felt like it got to the point that I wanted to get it to. But if you get a plant and you feel like it's not doing its best here, like you're kind of at a point where it just feels like it's not going to grow anymore, let me take you outside and show you the eggplant that I moved off of this whenever we brought it inside. Okay, so you guys can see we moved the tomatoes outside. She's looking a little dry, so I need to fix her today, but she's still producing, which is perfect. So I feel like we never really got that inside. And then the green beans, I don't know what she's doing with her life, but we still have the peppers and we're starting to get eggplants. I really need to water some things. So if you find yourself in a position of things not working inside like they're supposed to, you can always bring them outside and then you have a better option. Welcome to, you're seeing all of the things today. You don't go wrong by buying plants. You just learn whether or not it works for you. And there is a great return policy. So you have the option to decide that it's not really your jam. I don't know that I'm going to experiment with, hi Bubba, experiment with growing anything outside during the winter, although I probably could. We'll see come mid-January what I think, but as of now, it's a maybe for me. It's a maybe because I think this is one of those things that you literally just have to know how it works for you. And like I said, check the review down below because I might decide to add 2 more tiers and then it might feel a little bit better for me. But as of this moment and all of the things that have happened over the last few months, I don't think we've had a moment yet where I could just fully enjoy it and it be something that I got to do without it feeling like there's a problem that I have to fix, where it's not simply just me adding water and checking the pH and doing the, doing the nutrients every week. Honestly, doing plants from that outside and only having to water them has been more low maintenance than the actual like farm stand. So take that as you will. But again, the lettuce and all of that is perfect for inside. The herbs and all of that are perfect for inside. So be that as it may, it's a maybe from me. I will continue to let you know, but I did want to update you guys. So I hope this video helped you. I hope if you guys are still deciding whether or not you need a farm stand or not, that you will let me know in the comments below. Let me know any questions you have. Be sure to check out the blog post review and come check out the giveaway that we're doing for the month of Vlogmas. I will link all of the information in the description box below. I've done other luxury reviews. I tend to do bigger items. I, in full disclaimer, paid for this with the slight discount of the Lettuce Grow team, so thank you for that. I appreciate you guys, and yeah, I hope that this helped you. So I love you. It is a good day to have a good day, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video.